We can hear you. All right, Vincent, can you hear me now? All right. Since Vincent cannot hear me, we just have to go ahead.
Mr. Vanini.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, please go ahead and introduce our first speaker for today. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being here. So today, thanks as a good feeling to have with us two experts when it comes to research. The first one to mention is Laura. So we have the first presenter to be Laura Kamala Osario Ojeda. She was a student at the University of Oklahoma, the Petroleum Engineering Department, and she was a research assistant. Through this and her expertise, she was able to present at the student. Hello, Mato. Yes. So because of her exceptional research qualities, she was able to present during the ATC, that is for the SPC, Student Paper Contest, and that won her a marvelous award. And we also have with us the second presenter from Texas Tech, Texas A&M. So he is also, in a personal opinion, 𝐔𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐠. He's a PhD student and he's also a research assistant. He's here today to equip us with the skills and the research qualities that we need to embark on a substantive research that aligns and solves solutions problems in the industry. So without much ado, we will invite Laura Kamala Osario Ojeda to give us her presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vincent. Let me share my screen. Is everybody seeing the screen?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Okay, what about now? Is still everything okay?
Yes, it's very perfect.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I guess good evening in Ghana. It's noon, lunchtime here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the United States. My name is Laura Camila Osorio Ojeda. I belong to the SB Mid-Continent section. Currently, I am the secretary of the section, and I just recently joined. I graduated from the University of Oklahoma last year on fall 2023 with 2 master's degrees. 1 master's degree in petroleum engineering and a second master's degree in mechanical engineering. And as Vincent mentioned, I was, during my time at Oklahoma University, I was a graduate research assistant. Currently, I am in Halliburton. I work for the Research and Development Department for Summit ESP. So I work in artificial lift, especially as the name says, in ESPs, and I am a mechanical engineer in the pump group. So I work mostly with the pump in ESPs. That stands for, whoever, well, might not be familiar with the term, electrical submersible pumps. So that's a little bit of my background. So let's start with the presentation. So I guess first I would like to focus this presentation mostly on my story, how I came with I would say not so research background. I came into Oklahoma and I unlocked my potential in research that I did not know I have, like what really influenced me and how I would say how I lose the fear of research, because I was a little bit scared of that word, research. So that's why I going to start with something very, very basic. That is, what is the meaning of research? So as it states there in the slide, research is a systematic investigation aimed at discovering, interpreting, and or revising facts, theories, or applications. So for me, this was very interesting, this definition, because many times when we are starting in research, we think like research is just innovation, or research is just doing something big that has never done before. And that might scare some people away. And I'm gonna put myself in those people. I thought like for me to do research, I had to be, in cutting edge topics. I have to be researching about the last thing in the industry. But it's not like that. Yes, it can be discovering. Yes, you might get to know something new. But it also can be just, do laboratory testing and interpreted data that sometimes, it's not that done as we might think. Or just a literature review. That is studying theories. That is still research. Revising facts, again, same, literature review. So it's not necessarily just one thing. People sometimes focus on just one thing. Oh, I want to do something big. I want to create a correlation that has my name. I want my name to be known. I want to have a patent. Yes, that's research, but it's not just research. So when I came to the University of Oklahoma, before that, I was doing my undergrad just in petroleum engineer. That was back in Colombia. I did my undergrad. My only research approach was my thesis. As an undergrad student in Colombia, we also have to do thesis. And, I was not really familiar with that, besides the thesis being just like, I would say, a compilations of previous work of other people's, and try to do that approach. So when I came into the University of Oklahoma, I start to know, and I start to get to know people that actually expand my view on what research it really is. It's not has to be this awesome thing or like one of a kind thing. It starts from the minimal stuff. So that is the message that I want to give. Research starts from the basic stuff, from small things that create at the end of the day big things. So don't be scared. Don't think your ideas are too small. If they are small, that's okay, because with time they are going to become big. So I am going to start by telling you about my story, how to get your research interest. So I think there are 3 keys on how to get to know what are your research interests. And the first thing is to get to know yourself. And this doesn't come by, sometimes it seems like people just know what they want and they just go for it and it works. No, sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes you literally have to invest in many things. And in that way, you will realize, oh, this is boring. I don't like it for me. Or I actually really enjoyed that. Or, wow, I really thought I didn't like this, but I like. So getting to know yourself, I guess I'm going to put it this way, is a lot of trial and error. Whenever I started to do my my petroleum engineer undergrad, let's put it that way, I really was not sure what I really liked. I tried with several fields, and I found out I was not really appealed to, for example, reservoir. I was not appealed to petrophysics. I tried, I was part of SPWLA, for example, but I felt like there was not a really connection. Then I found production engineering, drilling engineering. Those are topics that are more interested to me. So there was a bunch of trial of error, right? So you have to try things. That is the point that I want to make. So you get to know yourself. You will not know yourself if you don't try, and if you don't make mistakes, and if you don't feel like, okay, this was maybe not my path. I'm gonna go again and start something else and see if I really like it. So that's the way you find your research interest. So that is the way I really ended up in Oklahoma. I found out through my undergrad that I really was into production engineering. I really liked artificial lift. I had the opportunity to do an internship with Occidental Petroleum back in Colombia, where I learned a lot about ESPs. So, you know, I was like, yes, I really want that. But this was a little bit later on my undergrad studies, right? Like, and it was after a long trial and error. So that is the first thing. The second thing is talk to people. And that's why I put those pictures there, because the first picture, right? The first picture is my colleague, friend, fellow research partner. His name is Michael Olobude. I met him here at the University of Oklahoma, literally on my first week of school. I did not know any of the other research assistant of my advisor. I actually didn't even have a clear research topic at that moment. But then Michael one day just showed up in the office and he said like, oh, I guess you're the new research assistant. And I said like, yes. And we just he started talking about what he was doing, what our advisor have been doing, and something just made click between the two of us. I really was interested on what he was doing. I really like it. Michael was doing research on gas-liquid separation, something I have barely known before. I never really thought about gas-liquid separation before, honestly. And he just starts explaining me to me that, and he just explaining in a good way, like he showed me the laboratory, that he literally become a mentor to me. So if I wouldn't have speak with Michael that day, and if I wouldn't have been like, you know, open and like listening to him, I don't know if I would have already published all the papers I have done so far. So that's what I say, talk to people because you might know people like my mentor and friend, Michael, who really likes what they do and they really inspire you to pursue those topics. So that is actually a picture we have in the Well Construction and Technology Center at the University of Oklahoma, where we build our tech setups. In the other picture, it's also Michael, another fellow student, Chinedu, and our technician assistant, Jeff McCaskill. And then, like, whenever you talk, I just put this picture with all of them because they just teach me so much on how to perform experiments, how to do testing, how to analyze data. You have really, if you talk to people, you have the power of help. You will find solutions for everything. No problem is too big. There is always a solution, and there is always someone out there that is willing to help. So that's why I say talk to people. The other the other point that I want to make clear for how to, to get to know research interest is to stay flexible and open-minded. When I started at the University of Oklahoma, I just started as a petroleum engineer master's student, and my advisor will push me to take mechanical engineer classes. He will say, I feel you could be good for that. Why don't you do fluids? Why don't you do this and that? I take a fluids class. Oh my God, I didn't get an A. It was a really hard class. I get a B, but I like it. I like it. I stay flexible and open-minded to his advice. I like it so much that even though I got a B, I was like, you know what? Can I pursue a dual master's in mechanical engineer? And I did it, and he supported me right away. And it wasn't an easy path, but that helped my research because I apply everything that I learned in mechanical engineer into my petroleum engineer thesis. So actually my thesis is really well, there is a really good proportion on both majors, which I graduated from the University of Oklahoma. Another thing, middle of my way, machine learning, data analysis, that's now one of the big topics. And let me tell you, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not really a big fan of coding, of, I don't know, programming, let's say, it's a little bit hard for me. Let's put it that way. but I keep staying flexible and open-minded, learning, don't being scared of it. And half of my thesis is focused on machine learning. How did I do it? Once again, talking to people. Talking to people. People give you idea. People help you. So that's the third thing. Stay flexible and open-minded, because sometimes things that you might be like, oh, I don't know if I like this, become actually those things that at the end of the day you were like, oh, it wasn't that hard, and actually give a really amazing input to my research. So I will say those are 3 amazing advice that I will give people to find research interest. Don't be afraid. Talk to people. That's all. Okay, so how to, well, in this section, how to really, like now put research into paper, or let's say how to really make your ideas, contextualize your ideas, like make it happen, like make it be real. So we need to have skills, for sure. We need to have skills to do that. This is something I also learned in graduate school. Many things I really learned in graduate school, and I am assuming right now people from undergrad is listening to me, undergrad school, and I would like really to encourage people to start learning a little bit of these tools and methodologies that I'm going to present, because they are going to make your path in research so much easier. You don't need to know really huge things. You don't need to know everything about what I'm going to say. You just need to know the basic, or basically you just need to know these tools exist. And these tools are there to help you, because nowadays I will say with the internet, you can get any information you want. So, for example, I would say if you're really thinking you want to do research in a, in a laboratory, in a laboratory setting, right, where you have to conduct experiments, learn about LabVIEW. This is critical. I would say this is very critical, because I learned LabVIEW when I came to the University of Oklahoma to the lab. I learned what LabVIEW is, and it's really easy. It's really easy to use. And then, surprisingly enough, when I came to this department of research and development in Halliburton, they use LabVIEW. That's what it's used in the industry. And I was like, wow, this is a really important knowledge that is passed right away from graduate school to your professional life. Like everybody uses this in research. So learn LabVIEW, learn MATLAB. Why do I recommend these two systems? Because they allow you to do instrumentation. They allow you to gather in the data, and that's related with sensors, transducers. Learn what is that. Learn how you can get your data. If you need pressure transducer. If you need temperature, right? And learn what is a DAQ system. That is basically data acquisition systems and how they work, because you need to know basic knowledge. Now, you don't need to know everything, because there is always gonna be someone around that can teach you things if you ask and talk to them. Some coding, you don't need to be the most proficient. As I said, I didn't code before coming to the University of Oklahoma, and I still consider I don't really code, but I can handle Python, I can handle MATLAB, and I can help myself to find the answers I want. So that's why you rely a lot in Google. It has so many questions, like use all those resources. And of course, learn data visualizations. These are some that I really like. It's Spotfire and Power BI. This has been like some I have used during my research time and during my internships time. So this is something I really recommend, because when you are in research and you start handling largest amounts of data, well, you need to make your life easier. Always make your life easier. Always think about this way. Conclusions are not complicated. Conclusions are really easy. Must be really easy to understand. Must be really easy for people to understand. So sometimes, like data visualization help you in that, in handling thousands of data in a way that is colorful, that is easy for everybody to understand, because as I said, a conclusion cannot be difficult. And finally, I will say simulation software. Simulation software is really important. It's the future, let's put it that way. I learned ANSYS Fluent. I learned SolidWorks. All of those things really helped for my thesis, really helped my research. I published papers related with the use of those softwares. So those things are really important as well. Now, when it comes to writing, when it comes to literature review, when it's come to go and check what is outside there, before you start any research, you need to know what has been done, right? Because research entails trying to feel like at the end of the day, research entails, okay, I'm trying to fill a gap of something that is missing, right? Maybe this, trying to fill a gap. So first you need to know, what's going on out there, what's needed. Has people actually, perform some work about it? So to do this, you need to do a literature review. And this is when I say, even a literature review, even that can become a publication. I didn't know you can literally make papers just based on mere deep, insightful literature reviews. So try to do always a really good literature review for your research, because if you care about publications, if you want that for yourself, for your life, that also can help you in that way. So there are some resources I would use. Honestly, when I started, I did not know much. I just open an Excel spreadsheet and start typing everything. I try to do sources cross-validation, I will just go to the papers I was interested in, read them, go and check their sources, go in the other paper, go and check their sources, and, and see, okay, seems like this source is named by many people. This might be really interesting to read, And then in that way, you get to know who are the people that has worked more in that specific topic. And that helps you because you can contact them. Something about research really nice right now. There are all of these websites like ResearchGate. You can create, ResearchGate is a website, and you can create there your own profile, and you can contact other researchers around the world that are working in your same research and share ideas or share opinions or do peer review. So this is something that I really encourage people to do, create a ResearchGate profile. So you can read someone's paper and you might think, oh my God, I don't really understand what they mean. You can go to ResearchGate and you can ask the person, hi, I'm reading your paper. Hey, can you explain me this a little bit more? And people, it's really open in the research world, especially when it's academia. People, it's really open and it's down to help and it's down to teach people. So that is something I really recommend, going deep in your literature review so you understand what is the gap and you can start thinking, okay, how can I start filling up that gap? As I said, research is not about making a huge, big thing. It's just small things that add up and make you this, and you can make this big, give this big thing to the academia. Anyways, there are also other softwares, or I wouldn't say software, I will say more like programs that help you to keep track of citations, that it's really good practice if you can learn and get used to use them, like Zotero and Mendeley. I mean, many people who has done thesis, they might be more familiar with this, just start getting to know that. iDrive, review mode, keep, if you are in a collaborative environment, if you are in a group of people, in a group of lab, right? Keep everything in iDrive, in review mode, in Word. As simple as that, you correct something, you make comments, and you ask the other person, hey, can we dive a little bit more in that? Those are really good methodologies to keep increasing the value of your research. So always keep in mind that, don't do things by yourself. Do things in team if you have the opportunity. And also, not if you have the opportunity. Honestly, what I have worked always, everything my research has been always in team. So this is amazing because everybody thinks different, and sometimes what the other person thinks you didn't think before, and you were like, oh, that's something I missed. Wait, yeah, he's right. So if you do collaborative websites like iDrive, and you make everything in review mode in a way that, you know, everybody can get to know everybody's idea, that's amazing. And finally, for publication, something I have realized about reading so many papers, I really did a huge extensive literature review for my thesis. I see there is sometimes a lack of good communication from some papers, and to expand a little bit more about it, is that sometimes we as an engineers, and I'm gonna put myself there because I had to learn how to write. We need to learn how to write. I think one of the things that the feedbacks my advisor will give me all the time, it's you write on a very complicated way, Laura. You need to learn how to write easy, straight to the point, without going around so much. So it's really important as researchers, and if we want to do research, that also we know how to express our ideas on an easy way. That's what I said before. Conclusion must be simpler. Conclusion must be, if I increase viscosity, I'm gonna reduce performance. This is something simple, straightforward that people understand. Sometimes when we write, we try to maybe make us look better by writing a bunch of information that it's not necessary at the end of the day. So I recommend, and I did, by the way, my university offer a free course. Oklahoma University offers a free course for graduate students to learn how to write scientifically. So this is important, and this is something that not many people do. And I think it's extremely important because you can be super smart and you can have this amazing innovation, but if you don't know how to communicate that, is honestly meaningless because nobody's going to understand you. So I really encourage people to learn how to write. I am still learning. I'm still learning how to write. Some tools that I really like and I added here was Grammarly. I pay the premium of Grammarly. It helped me write my thesis in the way that, you know, I will write my paragraph, I will put it in Grammarly and tell me, hey, you use here an overcomplicated sentence. You say this. And I'm like, oh, why I didn't think about it. Anyways, that's something I really think tools that people should, you know, like be more aware of if they want to be in research. And okay, finally, publication. So when we start doing research, or when I started, right, my thing was like, okay, when is a good time to do a publication? Does this has value? I'm very critical over my work. That's something I have. And I like to tell people because I know there might be people outside there that it's like me, really critical about their work, like thinking in the way of, this is not maybe that good. Who is gonna care about this? And believe me, people care. As I said before, as simple as it is, the research is not about big things at once. It's about small things that add up to make something big. So I will say, if you want to make a publication, if you just need an idea and you just need to submit an abstract. You don't need more for a publication. I thought that to write an abstract, you literally will need results and basically proof results and everything. No, you don't need that. Whenever you submit a paper, many times they ask you, what is the percentage of this paper or this work? What's the percentage that has been developed? And on the selection tab, there is sometimes options under, you know, less than 30%. If you have an idea, go ahead. Someone might be interested on it. So always go do abstracts, be denied several times. Who cares? No one. But if you apply to 100 abstracts, if you submit 100 abstracts, at least one might be accepted. So, you know, just go. Don't be scared of submit abstracts with not more than 80% of the job done, because there is always time. There is always time between the submission, right? I will say there are many places where you can do this. Of course, we're in SPE, so one of the well-known ones is the SPE conferences. There is always a conference open somewhere around the world where you can submit your idea. That's good. Also, there is SPWLA for people who is more into petrophysics, ASME, which is more related with mechanical engineering. And believe me, it's amazing the amount of papers that are submitted to ASME with a focus in the oil and gas industry. There is this SAE is the Society of Automotive Engineers, or the Society of Electrical Engineers. So there are all these websites that really have a bunch of conferences every year, like hundreds of conferences where you can submit your things. And sometimes they might not accept your abstract for the main presentation, like, for example, in front of a bunch of people in a conference room. They might accept your abstract just simply like a poster submission. And that's good. That's good. You are going to share your idea. You're going to share your idea. And, it doesn't need to be the big thing. It doesn't need to be big. Like a poster submission is just fine. You're going to find people interested in your job. So to tell you a little bit about my background or my story, when I started doing this, right, like, when do I submit a paper? Well, my advisor, he's really confident. He's really amazing. And he told me, the first year, let's go ahead and submit one paper with your name, put your name there. It got accepted. Well, abstract, sorry. It got accepted. I published I presented it in a conference, and everything went well. And then, like, people like from the industry will come to me and ask me questions and be interested on my work and be like, oh, actually, we don't do that. We want to know more about it. So I'm like, wow. So literally, you have to trust on your work, and as minimal and simple and it might seem for you, is not for others. So just do it. Just go ahead and do it. Besides these that I have here, there are other type of publications that are called, usually these are conference publications, but also all of these organizations or societies, they have journals where you can also publish your papers, publish your research. In this type of journals, that is peer review. So they have to be a little bit of more of background. They also have to be more well composed, let's say it, but it's, if it's not that hard. So don't be scared. Just don't be scared to do it. Finally, I will say, and I would like to speak a little bit about it. So, and again, related with my story, as I mentioned, when I was an undergrad, I never thought I would end up being an R&D, research and development engineer. Honestly, it's been a long trip, and I have realized a long way, and I have realized about many things. But as I mentioned at the beginning, many times people, when they say research, they think right away about this innovation, discovering, get something patented. And yes, that is possible. So also, and this is this is also very important and to take into account. It's, yes, as I mentioned before, you can talk to people and get to know things, but also, if you have a really good idea, and if you are really passionate about it, also, when you are really working deeply into one topic, make sure you talk with the correct people, and make sure you know if you think you have potential for a patent, to how to do it. So, or who can help you, like if you're in a university, the legal team or things like that, and things. other situation is gonna it's gonna be handling that. But what I meant is like research can end up in patents, and I think that really has a lot of value here, because patents can last forever, and people, it's gonna really start looking into your work, and you know, and it creates a really collaborative environment. So yeah, this is all. This is everything that I wanted to tell today. I just wanted to talk a little bit over my story, how I really came as a, I will say, as a simple student with no more information about what research is, how to publish a paper, all those things, to the position where I am today, where research is basically everything that I do on a daily basis, and I get paid for it. So yeah, so I hope like I really can inspire someone. And if you have any question, please just let me know. I'll happy to answer. I guess that's at the end of the Henry's presentation. But yeah, I'm down to answer question. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much for the nice presentation you've given. Laura, I hope you'll be staying with us in the next 45 minutes. Oh,
yeah.
All right, then let's take Silva's presentation. So when we are done with Silva, then we take the question together collectively. If that works for you, let me know.
Yeah, sure. At the end of Henry's, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll be here.
Right. So thank you once again, Laura. We have a wonderful presentation for the first section. Indeed, we're working the research potential, and you have taken us through how we can conceptualize our research ideas to make it an impactful solution to the industry. So without much ado, I'll call on Henry to take the next step to enlighten us on how we can unlock research potentials from ideas to innovation and possibly publication. Henry, if you're here, you can take the podium. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Loud and clear.
Awesome. Well, I have to say something before to start, and I'm so happy to see Laura here because I haven't met her personally, but a personal story is like my dad and her dad know each other very well. So
yeah, so funny.
So funny. Yeah, when I saw the advertisement, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna send this to Daddy, and of course, I'll hope to meet you in person soon, Laura. Congratulations. I think it's amazing to see your journey. You know,
Come to
coming
Tulsa.
also from the same school, from the same university. And I think you mentioned many things that I wanted to say. So I'm gonna try to make my presentation shorter. Trying to focus probably on the things that you didn't mention before, but I really like it. Thank you so much. Okay, so hello everyone. I am Henry Galvis. I am also a petroleum engineer, master in petroleum engineering as well, and I'm doing a PhD in petroleum engineering here at Texas A&M. I'm working also as a research assistant. I love to talk about research topics because, well, basically that's what we do, research. But I think there are some things that many people doesn't know about research. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Some problems are so tough. Some problems are so complicated. But definitely there is always a space for some more kind of stuff that we can do. So my presentation is going to be talking a little bit about the benefits. I think Laura mentioned some of the benefits, personal benefits and academic benefits. Then I'm going to talk about some of the enemies that you guys are going to face and the myths. This is a personal study that I did here in Texas A&M. And I'm going to talk about some closing remarks and a case study, basically in a short research that I did a year ago in an internship. So some personal benefits, well, Laura already mentioned it, and I think it's very clear. You're going to improve your understanding. Some people who love to go and fly airplanes knows that you need at least 10,000 hours of flight to be an expert. So if you want to be a subject matter expert, if you want to be recognized about some specific topic, this is a good way to start writing papers, like reading some papers, getting your 10,000 hours. And how do you get your 10,000 hours? Well, 1 year has 86,000 hours, and considering that you work and sleep 2/3 of the year, so you still have some time to start reading and picking your fictional topic that you're going to improve. Then when you write papers, I think you develop critical thinking. I don't know if you guys have been in some meetings when there is always a student that realizes about the things that no one's realized, and pick the things that you are like, how he discovered that or how she realized about that. Well, it's because probably that person is reading more. It's because probably she's writing more, so she's developing a different thinking. You improve your writing skills, but as Laura mentioned, today we have Grammarly, so we can cheat a little bit on that. But definitely you need to improve. My first paper was horrible. Now I think I'm probably on my 11th paper, and it's improving, and I'm still have to improve. It also facilitates networking, and I think Laura mentioned this before. Once you go to present a paper, once you publish, once you are in Google, someone type your name in Google and type Vincent and see all the Vincent's research, well, probably that person wants to talk with Vincent about the research that he's doing and know a little bit more about it. So I think it's also a personal benefit. You are going to be famous, and you are going to be more recognized in that specific area. And I think this is so important. It's going to improve your presentation skills. The first time that you are going to go into a conference and you are going to present, or you are going to talk about the research that you are doing, probably you're going to be so scared. I think I have done more than 100 presentations. I'm still so scared. Actually, I'm scared in this presentation before I was like, what I'm going to say, what I'm going to prepare. But with the time, you are going to be ready to present. You are going to be trying to face that fear better, and then you're going to be able to be a good presenter. And what is going to help you that is because you are going to go into a company, you are going to go to work in an oil and gas company or a service company, and you have to present a project. You have to support your idea, and that's something absolutely important. So actually the writing skills is also going to give it to you the presentation skills. Academic benefit, I think this is some of the most important part that probably everybody loves, because when I was also back in Colombia, I didn't realize about it. And I want to mention something that is really important. 3 years ago, I wrote one paper. Well, I'm not gonna lie. My friend wrote 80% of the paper, I just wrote 20%. So basically 3 years ago, I didn't have any experience writing papers. 3 years after, I have been able to be in so many researches, and it's definitely the practice that I give it to you. But why I'm mentioning this, because some people is scared of coming to US because they don't have research or publication. Don't worry, I didn't have anything before to come here. I have some research and publications now that I'm here. But if you have some research and publications in advance, it's gonna make your journey easier. Why? Because the professors here, the scholarship here, basically they don't know you. They don't know anything about Vincent or Matilda, so they have to go and search what is the job that you guys have doing. So if you already have some knowledge, or if you already have started your journey on the research area, it's gonna be so good. But if you haven't started, don't worry, you still can apply, you still can get a scholarship. Of course, it's gonna be easier. If people know you, they can fund your research, they can put some money on top of the thing that you have doing. It's also helping getting internships. I think Laura is working in R&D, in research and development. And also, if you want to do an internship in a company that has R&D departments, they want to know if you actually have write a papers. That shows that actually you are really working on something. And this is funny. I love the entrepreneurial side. I have a startup company here in Texas A&M. And also, if you have papers, it's going to help you because people know that actually the things that you are showing them and the research that you are doing and that you are applying, and some companies have read the papers, and probably some magazines have published your papers, well, they start trusting more. So everything is about trusting. So if probably you think it's also research is only for academicians, it also helps also for entrepreneurs. And finally, if you didn't know, there are some countries, like United States, but there are some other countries that are sponsoring visas or job permits based on your recognition. So if you have more papers, more publications, Just Google it. I'm not a lawyer. This is not I want to make a disclosure that this is not a lawyer advisor. I am not a lawyer, but I'm just gonna to let you know that if you are a person that loves to do research, these are some of the paths that you can use, and these are some of the opportunities that you are going to have. Let's talk about the enemies. This is a Texas A&M study. I personally did this study here in Texas A&M with all the PhD students from the petroleum department. And I start trying to find what are the main enemies of writing papers, you know? I was like, okay, I need to figure out the main problem. And I found one enemy that all the PhDs here in the petroleum department has. This is gonna be also probably your main enemy if you are going to write a paper. So let's imagine, okay. Oh my God, now this is my enemy, my tech problem. Check. What happened? Oh my gosh. Can I get a second, please? I don't know what happened with the presentation.
I think you can reshare again.
Okay, let me reshare again.
Yeah.
I think probably because I add some animations, so it's not working correctly.
All right. Another way also is you email it to me, then I quickly download and project for you.
To make it fast, so maybe you can send it to me on WhatsApp. So I give it to Banino on WhatsApp.
Can you see my screen
All
right now?
It's
Yes,
back
it's
now.
good now.
Yeah, it's back.
Okay, good. So this is you. Well, this is me, Henry. I'm doing my PhD. I'm writing my paper. This is your Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all the social media that you are going to have next to you. We call it the instant gratification monkey. Believe me, this is for real. I took these pictures for a tech talk that I really love it, and I'm going to share the link. But most of the problems whenever you want to write a paper is because the monkey wants to do something else than writing a research paper. So every time that you want to do something completely different, every time that you want to do research, every time you want to go ahead and do something extra, the monkey wants to drive for you. And actually, he loves to drive. And most of the time, what we do is just look around, start exploring our phones, start taking phone calls, hanging around, and we procrastinate the research that we have to do, even though we know that we have to do. Until we get the panic monster. The panic monster is basically the deadline. For example, this morning I received a phone call so early from Vincent, and he told me like, do you have your presentation ready? And that was my panic monster. That's when I was start running around, I was like, actually, no, I have to go to the office today, work so hard, and I also have to finish the presentation. So most of the time, and this is true, that's the reason that also Laura mentioned that the deadlines of the researchers, usually they give 1, 2, 3 more weeks, depending on the magazine, because everybody is also running to the last minute. And what is going to happen? At the last minute, you're going to write down your paper or you're going to start doing your research. You are lucky enough, you're going to finish your deadline. If you are not lucky enough, you are not going to get it. But the main conclusion of this point that I want to bring is like the research process, even though it's a technical process, be careful, because most of the time we know, and I'm talking that I'm in the PhD department, in a petroleum engineering department, in a United States of American university, and everybody has the same problem. And I've been doing this study in Colombia, and probably if you guys do the same study in Ghana, you guys will find that this is basically the main enemy of the researchers, is how can they start doing the things that they know they have to do on time. And at the same time, there are some other myths that is also important to bring. Writing papers for smart people, that's a myth. You know, it's not for smart people. It's that people that basically talk to the instant gratification monkey and say, listen, I don't gonna use social media for today. I'm gonna start doing my job. As an advice, for example, when I am in the research process or when I know that I have to deliver something, I delete my social media. I can be without social media for 2-3 months. No Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok. And I know that I'm gonna be working better. So it's not for smart people, it's for people that actually is committed and dedicated. Some people say that you cannot write by yourself. And I want to say careful. You can write by yourself. But the reason that you want partners, this is the main reason, is because many people have wrote articles before and many people have experience on this. So the writing process is not a personal process. And I highly don't recommend to be alone in this journey. If you want to do research, try to find partners or mentors. You know, I'll talk later about the mentorship process. The third one is not only for scientists, that's also a myth. Some people that is working in the field is writing papers. They have some data in the field. They have some friends that they have experience on papers. And I think this is also kind of the funny things. People believe that just research can be done in laboratories, or you have to have a huge data set of information. Or no, actually no. You only we're gonna talk later about how I do the process and how I recommend to do the process. But basically, what you have to have is a problem. You have to have a problem, find a specific problem, and then figure out why the people haven't been able to resolve that problem, and propose you, with the information that you have, how you can solve that problem. And you don't have to be in the school, university, or something similar. My best friend, and actually the first paper that I wrote was with my best friend in Colombia, Fernando. He was laid off at that time. He was working in a company, basically he was laying off like for 4 months, no school, no company, no university, no research center. He was just with the same thing that we have in right now, a computer, internet, and say, you know something? I would like to write a paper about how the universities in Colombia can improve the petroleum department. And you know what we did? We just started reading on the internet what other schools in the United States, in Europe, in all these countries, what are the programs that they were doing, what kind of classes they were taking, how they were improving the petroleum engineering program. We write on a paper, we make an Excel file, we put some of the classes that we think is going to be useful for the petroleum engineers. Laura mentioned some of them, data science, simulation, but right now everybody's also talking about geothermal, carbon storage. So a few years ago, like 6 years ago, we decided to do this process and we published the paper. We didn't have any school, advisor, sponsor, data set, nothing. We just basically were located with a computer and saying, I want to write out about this. And I bring this example because research is not only about data science or hydraulic fracturing or all the things that we love and that we want to see in the petroleum industry. Research is also about some other things that you like it. You know, in this case, we knew that there was a gap in the Colombian schools related to petroleum industry, and we just wanted to propose something to fill it. So that's also an invitation, you know, like don't think that only you need to go with topics that are hot topics right now, you know, because everything is cyclic. Everything is going to be cyclic. A few years ago, and I think before pandemic, no one was talking about oil and gas industry. Everybody was more related about renewables and about storage. Right now, I think oil and gas is going back again, getting important. Probably in a few years, we're going to have another cycle. So this is very cyclic. So don't be biased by the information or what the people say. Pick that something that you like it, get your team and hands-on. Okay. Now, the next advice that I all the time saying when you want to unlock a research potential, find the problem, but it's preferable if you like it. I put preferable because sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you are in a job. Sometimes you are in a position where that's what your boss says and you have to do a good job. But if you have the option, if you're still in school, if you can find something that you like it, even though your friends are gonna tell you, listen, that's not gonna work. Laser drilling is not gonna work, or geothermal is gonna be so expensive in this country. Whatever they can tell you, find a topic that you like it. For two reasons. The first one, if you don't like it, whenever it start the problems and the rejections, and a magazine is gonna tell you, no, I don't want to publish this, you don't gonna have the passion to say, I'm going to keep it up. And the second one, if you don't like it, it's gonna be so complicated to stay overnight working on these papers, because actually when you are writing, sometimes you have to be working on these overnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So it is preferable if you like it, that topic. And I think also Lauren also mentioned that if you don't like reservoir, well, don't pick reservoir unless you have it. If you have a voice, and you don't have no choice, let's do it. And explore discussions. Find mentors. I sometimes some people, I used to say it exactly the same. I don't see problems. Like I used to be a person that I used to think that everything was solved, everything was ready. So I used to talk with people that have been in the industry for 20, 30, 40 years and ask them, hey, what do you think I can do in this area? I like this. And they have been in the industry for more time. So usually they have answers and they'll tell you, listen, no one has presented something like this. What do you think about it? So that's the reason that I highly recommend to talk to mentors. And if you don't have mentors, find a mentor. I actually have some mentees. I'm here in the US and I have some mentees in Africa. Sometimes we talk to LinkedIn and say, hey, how's it going? What is everything here? So why? Well, it's the best way, like I'm doing something extra different here. I've been working for a couple of years more probably than them. So I can provide them some knowledge and I can probably guide them and tell them, I recommend you to do this. I don't have the 100% of the answers, but I'll give it to you an answer. And based on your research study, I think there are different types of research. I only gonna bring 4 points. Some people could be thinking there are more, some people could be thinking there are less, but you can do a review research. And basically in a review research, you want, I think this is not my presentation, but anyway, in a review research, what you want to do is read a bunch of information about some other people have done, and then try to write a paper with that. The second one, if you have a lab and you have lab skills, well, it's going to be easier because you are going to have some data. You're going to try something and then you're going to write in some conclusion, and that's a publication. Then if you have data, Rhino actually is one of the most popular. If you have access to data, you can compile all that data, take that data and publish it a paper. And I think finally, you can do fundamental research. I think usually in the petroleum engineering, we don't do too much. Some professors here do fundamental research. It's basically, they take one equation and they say, listen, I really want to understand this. And I really want to understand the physics behind, and I want to propose a new theorem, and I want to start doing it. What is better? Whatever you like it and whatever you have available to you. Sometimes you can do review research because you are laid off and you want to start taking some papers. Sometimes you have access to data. Sometimes actually you are working in an academic project that they want you to do a fundamental research, so it's going to depend on your status. This is so important. I think some closing remarks to try to recap what I just mentioned. And I bring some of these remarks related to some other people that I usually follow, and I really like it. The first one is, please find something that you like it and read a lot, This is a book from Bill Owlet. Bill Owlet is the professor of discipline entrepreneurship at the MIT. And I believe that the entrepreneur journey is kind of familiar also to the research journey. It is tough, it is difficult, it's not gonna be easy. But if you find something that you like it, you are gonna having so much fun reading papers. You can print a bunch of papers. Even if you don't have printers, you can read it in the screen and you're gonna have your red eyes until 3 a.m. And if you like it, you can read it. And I also say, please use YouTube, because YouTube is easier. Before, my dad, they used to have only books. Right now we have YouTube. So go to YouTube and believe me, UT Austin, MIT, Harvard, Texas A&M, all these schools, they have a bunch of videos for free in YouTube and EDX that you can have access. If you have internet, you can go to those videos, take classes. That's what I do before to go to the papers and the questions and some of the complicated things that are gonna probably make me cry before to understand. I go to YouTube, saw a couple of videos, and okay, now I think I understand a little bit. But yeah, find something that you like it. Read a lot. And I think read a lot is so important because in the next steps, you're gonna need to find help. In the next step, before you read something, before you watch the videos, you are gonna go and talk to your advisor, your mentor, your professor. And if you haven't read, it's so complicated. I have some students that come here and say, I wanna write on a paper on hydrogen. I was like, okay, what do you wanna do? I don't know. You let me know. You haven't even opened a YouTube. Go to YouTube, watch a couple of videos, read a couple of papers, and then come back. So please, before to go to your mentor, try to read a little bit. Let me play. This is the second remark. So the first remark, find something that you like it and read a lot. The second one, Vincent, can you hear the audio of the video? Vincent?
No, please.
Okay, let me see. Can you hear it?
Okay, please, am I the only one who can't hear?
You are listening to the audio or not?
Can anyone else hear what? Please, can anyone hear?
We can't hear
We
it
can't
here.
hear. Yes, sure.
That's so sad.
Yes, I'm thinking you should speak to it and then share the link so that we all later on go and look at it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So you can Google Steve Jobs. I think everybody knows who is Steve Jobs, the Apple founder. He got this amazing video on YouTube. When he tells the story when he was 12 years old, and one day he just picked the phone and called the CEO and founder of Hewlett-Packard. He take the directory, 12-year-old. He was not doing a PhD, who was not in the university. He was 12 years old, and he was just working on a science project. And pick the phone and say, this guy looks smart. I'm gonna call it. And guess what? He asked for some help. And he not only get the components that he was trying to get for the project, he also get a summer internship at the age of 12. So please, I'm gonna send probably the link to you, Vincent, later on. But this is a really, really nice video that I would like to share.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Okay, the second video, I think kind of the same problem. I think we should, if you don't have the video, I'm gonna put it the video and you can read the closed caption. This is from Jeff Bezos. I think he's richer than many people. Laura also mentioned a little bit about it and the importance of be summer but flexible. Sometimes your first research or the first things that you plan are not going to be the final remarks or are not going to be your final research. So you have to be flexible. But please stay with your idea. If you find something that you like it, that's why the first one was pick something that you like it. That's going to help you. You have to be flexible because if you don't like it, you can pivot. I love when Laura mentioned that she came here as a petroleum engineer. She started doing the master in petroleum, and then she was fascinated with mechanical engineering, and she said, something, I also want to do this. That's a complicated decision to make. And I really admire the people that at the middle of something say, you know, what I really like it is this. And that's the reason that she's successful, because she found something that she likes. Once you guys find something that you like it, it's gonna be so easy to be a summer to the idea. I think Laura already mentioned about this, so I don't want to talk about all the artificial intelligence that we have. But to close the presentation and make this short, I'm gonna show an example of a research that I did in a couple of months in a summer internship, and it was so funny how I apply all these tips quickly, and it became from a summer project to a publication. So the problem was working in petroleum engineering in causal inference. I have no idea what was causal inference a year ago, something more related to economics. And basically what we wanted to apply is how actually we can find the causation and not the correlation. So to make it easier and to explain to everyone, if we take a bunch of data points here and we take the cholesterol and the exercise, we can find a correlation. And we can think that actually make more exercise is going to increase my cholesterol, right? But then when I actually try to open my data through the age, I'm gonna find that my data is confound, and there are some confounders here, and the main confounder here is the age. So indeed, it doesn't have any sense, right? If you do more exercise, you are going to have less cholesterol, not more cholesterol. So imagine doing a project, you have 2.5 months when you are going to do an internship, and you have to solve a project like this, you know, I give it to you something totally different, completely different. You're like, okay, it's a job project. It's something that I don't decide it, but I like the company, so I like the project. Tip number 1. So I have to move forward. I have to go ahead and figure out what I'm gonna do, right? These are kind of example of how the causal inference works, you know? If I am in Miami, I love Miami. I live in Miami for a couple of times. I can't believe that probably the shark attacks increase when my ice cream sales increase, but the reason is because of the summer. The summer is the problem. It's not that I am selling more ice cream because I'm having some more shark attacks. Just to explain a little bit about what causal inference is, but how was the approach to solve this problem? Okay, team number 1, find something that you like it. We already find it. We find this specific problem. Read a lot and use YouTube, right? So I got 4 books that actually I went quickly to the library with my boss. In 1 month, we just get a bunch of paper and start reading who was the most important person in this specific problem in the world, and trying to find that person and trying to watch a bunch of YouTube videos. 3 YouTube videos in Harvard University, Stanford, Texas Tech, all of them for free. After that process, then I start asking for help. So I literally wrote down a mail on LinkedIn and say, hey, listen, I don't know you. I just went to LinkedIn and I know that you are working in something called causal inference. Would you be able to have an interview or talk to me, you know, because I have a big problem? And guess what? 1 minute later, the lady said, sure, can we meet on Zoom? Can we talk about it? This happened a lot. So that's the reason that this is the second tip. Ask for help. Be humble. If you don't have the people next to you in the company, just send an email, shoot an email. Some people is going to reply. Some people is not going to reply. But 95% of the time, people is going to help. And finally, persistency. At the end, we wanted to publish a job related to all the findings that we did, but we have to work with public data. You know, if I want to publish something, I cannot work with proprietary data of the company. So I have to find published data. And it was so complicated to find published data, specifically the type of data that we were looking. So I just sent a bunch of emails to a bunch of resources like, hey, listen, I'm working in a PhD project. If you're a student, that's something amazing because you have the student gap. Use it. Every time that someone sends an email saying, hey, listen, I'm a student at the university, that's the best gap that you can use to get data, to get information, to get help. I sent this email. I sent this email like for 5 companies that have data information. This actually was the North Dakota government. Few days later, you know, good afternoon. I've been given the go-ahead. I already talked to my CEO, you can get your data. There's a bunch of free online material. I actually ended up in a conference with Capital One. There is a bank very big here learning about causal inference. And the final tip that I told you is find your team. Find your team. I probably was able to write a paper at the end by myself. Yeah, but I didn't want it. I didn't want it to spend 1 or 2 years trying to figure out many things. So at the end, we put this together with my former boss, Sebastian, and Oliver, actually is one of my best friends here. And we decided to apply all these to unconventional reservoirs. So this was a quick case example of how can you really start from getting not knowing anything about a topic. And if someone is expert on causal inference and is listening to this, I really would like to talk to you because I'm still learning. But this is how you, in 2-3 months, get a project that you don't know anything. Go to YouTube, internet, books, videos, get knowledge, ask for help, find a lot of people that can help you, and then find your team to write a paper. Again, I told at the beginning, write a paper can be a process done by yourself. Some people do it. I truly believe in the teamwork, and I truly believe that actually teamwork are so successful for research, for papers, for companies. So yeah, actually this paper is going to be presented in a couple of months. So that's the reason that I can show these. Some extra info. I love this guy who talk. He's a professor in UT Austin, actually. He got all his classes for free. If you don't know anything about machine learning, I used this professor to learn machine learning. I didn't know anything, and it was amazing. We also have a channel here in Texas A&M, SPE channel. We have a bunch of videos for free if you want to know about what is happening in the industry with companies. Professors also give talks. So everything is in YouTube. You don't have to pay a subscription or be the pro user to go to this. In EDX, I think I have done probably 10 courses so far, all of them for free. I don't pay for the certificate, but there are many resources that you can use. I think that's all for me from my side. I just wanted to try to complement a little bit what Laura gives and trying to show them that it's possible, that you only need to pick something that you like it. You need to ask for help. You need to stay with that idea, find your team, and work so hard, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Henry. Indeed, we are grateful for such a wonderful and inspiring presentation. Nowadays, I think especially our final year students and those who are yet to graduate wouldn't fumble when it comes to choosing the right topic in their interest for their research. And we are quite privileged to be enlightened on the research tools, the skills, and how we can conceptualize our ideas into reality. We are very grateful for that, Laura and Henry. So before we zoom into the question section, please kindly turn on your camera so that we can take a picture. When you are done with that, then we start taking some few questions. So if you have a question, you can put it in the chat box or you can raise your hand and we will call you to answer those questions. But quickly, let's turn on our cameras and have the photograph section. Thank you.
I think I'm gonna stop sharing probably to have everyone. Let me know when to smile.
Me. Mr. Banini.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
my environment will not permit me to on the camera. It's
all right.
very dark in here, so I'll prefer the SPA icon to come.
Right, okay, that's fine. Okay.
Vincent, I think we can go ahead and take the picture.
All right. So we
Oh, want to smile, so we are on
All
your
right.
account.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Mr. Kindly can take the pictures.
Vincent, were you saying something?
I would say you can take the pictures at your end.
Oh, do I know how to do that?
Okay, let me handle that.
Yes, please handle that because you are co-host, so you can handle that. I don't want to now go and be looking for that function.
Okay.
You see, I'm asking for help.
Okay. So thank you very much. Please, if you have you have any questions, you can let us know. Our speakers, presenters are here to help you with the questions that you have. So you can put it in the chat box, or you can also raise your hand and we'll call you. Thank you.
All right, let me set the tone for the questions. This is Banini again. This goes to Laura. In your bit of introduction, you said you had two masters in two different fields. Did you do them concurrently, or you finish one before you started another one?
I did it at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's great. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. All right. We can have the questions now. If you, like Vincent said, raise up your hand or you put it in a chat box. You'll be able to read for all of us to hear. We are 45 on this call. I expect at least 20 questions from us here. Thank you. All right, let me put in another question. This also still goes to Laura. The AI tools you spoke about. As students, do we have access to free subscriptions, or we need to have to pay for some of these tools? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I would say the best one is Python. Python is just free. Everybody works in Python. When I say everybody, even like company-wise, many companies just use it now. And it's just such a friendly language. So yeah, because if you want MATLAB, if you want R or C++, for example, those are the ones I'm familiar with. I know there are other ones that might be even better. I don't know. You gotta pay for them. So Python is free. Everybody can get it. So I would say get good at Python because you can use it anywhere.
All right, thank you.
Laura, I think you have a picture with all the AIs that you use. I really like that picture. If you can send me that when you show all the AIs, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm only using 5 and she's using like 15. That was a really good one.
All right, please, we are still waiting for your questions if there are any questions. So those who are here to start, let's say their final year project, you can also inquire about where the industry is moving, most of the topics that are relevant. So Henry, if you are to speak to that issue, currently you see we are the petroleum industry is facing a lot of crisis. That is when it comes to energy transition. So as petroleum engineers, do you have any preferable, let's say, research topics that you want us to go into instead of maybe going into some of the conventional ones that we feel like they are cake now? Thanks.
That's for me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Could you repeat the question? Because probably I thought it was for Laura.
So what I said was currently we've seen the crisis that the petroleum industry is going through. So as graduate or final year students who are yet to come into the industry, do you have any, let's say, preferable topics, research topics that we would want to maybe research on so that we can still be relevant, or our works will be relevant to the industry instead of going into the conventional ones that we feel like they are outmoded?
Okay, I think that's a really good question. I work in the reservoir engineer area, and I think most of the best reservoir engineers that I know are mechanical engineers or chemical engineers. So they actually are not petrol engineers. And the reason that I'm saying this is because if you really know the foundation, fluid dynamics, you understand the chemistry, you understand the equation of flow dynamics very well, and you understand how to solve equations, how to use a simulator, how to do coding, you can work in oil and gas. You can shift to geothermal because it's a flow phenomena and heat transfer, and then you can shift to hydrogen, and then you put another equation order, and then you can shift to CO2 storage. That is kind of the trending topics right now. I don't want to say the same thing, but what I'm saying is if you really keep doing your research and keep understanding the basics and doing research, if you have, for example, I show an example that I was doing reservoir engineering economics, but if you really understand the basics of the economics and how to do a project, you can do a project on CCUS, on hydrogen, or geothermal. I think right now everybody's talking about those topics. And I think here in the US, the advancement of those topics is more. I look back my country and we're still far away to start developing geothermal projects or CO2 storage or CO2 projects. My recommendation is don't be scared. There is a bunch of oil and gas over there. We need so much energy. By the 2050, we're going to duplicate the amount of energy that we are using right now. And there is no other solution economically available so far. If you look at the charts, the growing of the population, China, India, there's a bunch of people that is going to come. Everybody needs energy, and oil and gas is going to continue to be the primary energy source. So no scares. Hello?
I would like maybe to say something else about that. Well, someone asked me a question to Laura. How do you consider trends as far as research ID is concerned, and how do you bridge the gap between research and trends? Okay, may you expand a little bit on what you mean by trends, Emmanuel? Like what it's maybe right now, what is everybody's going for or something like that, or what's trends?
Yes, I think Emmanuel is trying to say what are the current research ideas.
Okay, yeah, that's I would say that's quite tricky because that's really, I would say, niche, depending on what you or what field you are. Petroleum engineer, it's very broad in the sense there are many fields that are attached to it. So we have drilling, we have production, and we have reservoir. Those are the main three, right? And then between them, there are things that people is working on. So I would say something, and once again, this is all based on personal experience. When I get here, of course, what is popular right now, it's geothermal and it's carbon capture. Those are the hot topics. Like everybody wants to do them, everybody wants to work on them because that's what that people think everybody is doing. And many times people get into research, it's usually for publications and citations because there is a a huge personal benefit if you get that. But I will say, like, for example, my experience, I did not follow that. As I said before, I was not into reservoir. I was not into petrophysics. I was into production. I was into artificial lift. And I did found people in my journey that said, why you do that? Nobody does that. Nobody's writing about that. And instead of being scared of that, I was like, doesn't it tell you something that nobody's working on that? So there is a gap there. There is a gap there. If no one is working there, there is a gap. There is something you can put extra. So I just keep, working on my gas liquid separation. And, yeah, might not be the hot topic of the day, might not be geothermal, might not be carbon capture, but it ended up, and like what I work right now is mostly gas liquid separation in Halliburton now on a really business economical term, like in the industry, like building equipment, like, like in the research area. Like, so if I would have followed that, like, oh, I'm going to go for maybe the trendy topic, I wouldn't be here. Like, so that's really, and then like when I came here, and then here, when you are in the industry now, in that part of the industry that work on what you work, you realize, actually, I was working about gas and liquid separation, and that's a really hot topic on artificial lift. That's a really hot topic on artificial lift. It's just like, maybe overall, right now, it's geothermal. It's as I said, carbon capture, but go to the artificial lift world, and everybody's going to be talking about how to improve performance separation based whenever we have gas. We don't like gas. I mean, for our pumps. So it's popular, right? So don't get yourself, maybe captured for those big titles. If you don't feel attracted to them, that's okay. I mean, go and might be redundant what I'm saying. Everybody say it since the beginning of the time. Follow your passions, but it's true. It's true. If I would have followed, maybe not going for here in Oklahoma, like 3 years ago, in the graduate school, become very, very popular to do dual degrees with data science. Many of my friends did the dual degree in data science, and I was judged by some people like, why you don't do data science? Why you do mechanical engineering? I'm like, because I like it. I follow my passion, and I think it paid off. Now I am, and I do really enjoy my job. So don't get scared by, oh, this is not the hot topic, because might not be the hot topic in this niche situation, but in this niche one, where is artificial lift, where is pumping systems, it is hot topic. So there are several hot topics. Just like right now, some are more like out loud than others.
True.
Okay, someone else said something. Since you're in the industry, I presume you have much experience. I do not have much experience. I have been in the industry for 4 months.
I knew you were going to say that.
Our Afghan students, especially under
She's so humble.
A mindset of continuous learning to enhance our inner. Oh, okay, this is a good one. Yeah, something to be careful when you get into the industry, I would say. And this is something I discussed with all of us who stopped in masters and didn't pursue PhDs. Many of my friends pursue PhDs. Many others we said, no, let's go out. We'll be back. Maybe we'll be back in the future. But we said, let's go out. You gotta be very careful, because you become a little bit lazy in that sense, on the sense of not continuous learning. Because when you were in school, you were kind of working 24/7. Now you're working 9 to 5. And you are like, you have like this idea like, oh, I'm done with things. But you really have to keep encouraging yourself, keep thinking. I would say a bit experience. I would say like the way to it's to keep finding things. Is to keep finding things you are really, like you really want to contribute it. Like have a whenever you work, like choose something that you really want to help growing. For example, me right now, I do believe in this. I do believe in our product here. I do believe in our pumps at Halliburton. I really want to make them grow. So that gives me the will do after work. Maybe, hey, I'm gonna research a little bit about this. Maybe something that I can contribute. Hey, let me think about ideas. Like so everything, I guess, like summarizes in the same, like get to work on something that you really believe in. Like if you're just, I guess if you're just there for the money and stuff, it's gonna be hard to keep having that mindset of continuous learning. So yeah, and keep being involved with your academia friends. That's really important. Don't leave your friends behind, because my academia friends were the ones who inspired me, my friends from graduate school, to do many research, to give me many ideas. I just keep in touch with them. He's like, hey, what are you have something interesting you're working on, you're thinking on, and in that way, all of you keep growing together. So yeah, keep those contacts, let's say it that way. Keep those friendships instead of contacts, friendships. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, please, we are still waiting for your questions. We have 2 minutes to wrap up with the question section. So if you have questions, we are still waiting for you. We have 2 minutes to go. Yeah, somebody was asking, could it be possible for us to get their presentation slides and recording of the video? Yes, we are going to upload the video on our YouTube. So please, you can visit the YouTube, SP Ghana's YouTube platform, and have the video there. You upload it right after the event. So, Mr. Banini, please, if you can project the upcoming events that we have, so that participants of this event can have an idea of those events we are.
All right. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can. So,
All right,
a
good.
beautiful one.
All right, thank you so much. Our next webinar is coming up on the 11th of May, 2024, and you can see on the flyer the topic is a time with the 6 times international petrol champions, strategies for winning the game. These guys are coming to take us through how to go about strategies for winning the Petrol Bowl. And for your information, we know Ghana, we are still making preparations to select the best of the teams that will go to the US in September to represent us. So it is a must for all chapters to attend on the 11th. On that day, there will be a special announcement concerning the Petrol Bowl. There will be a special announcement concerning the Petrol Bowl. And also, secondly, on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of May, we are having the Ghana 𝐔𝐧𝐥𝐸. And as you are aware of, we have you have selected a few of your executives to join us on the 19th, 20th, and 21st. You know the conditions for which you are coming to Accra, or if you are already in Accra. We are not providing any accommodation, and we are not providing any transport. All we are providing is access to the conference 24/7, the dinner, any activities during the young professionals meetings. You have access throughout the meeting on the 3 days. So those who submitted their names, I think looking at the list, I have about 25 of you, student executives who have expressed interest. We'll be expecting you in Accra on the 19th. Come, learn, share, network, and go back, refresh, and all that. These are the few announcements I have on future events. I'll hand over to, I want to give a special appreciation to Professor Amore. It is on the call, Prof. Thank you so much for joining.
Really?
You even joined much
That's
earlier
great.
than the students. Thank you so much, Prof, for making time to be with us. If you can hear a word or two from you, that will be fine. Hello, Prof. Amore. Hello, Prof. All right.
Yeah, Mr. Banini, I don't know if I'm audible enough.
You are.
Hello.
Yes, Prof, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much for the section. I have really enjoyed it. All that our seasoned speakers, in terms of what they took us through, were all on point. And we want to encourage all of us that it doesn't take so much to get a paper through or to conduct a research. You just have the passion and try to connect, ask more questions who can help you or collaborate with to get whatever idea you have in mind on paper. And I believe that with time, you can also be a publisher. So thank you so much for the section, and wish everyone the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Vincent, please over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much, Mr. Banini. Here, I learned Laura has left. Oh, so okay. We are much grateful for your time and everything that you spent during this event. Indeed, we have unleashed or unlocked the benefits and the potentials of a research prospect. So we hope that all that we've learned, we will put them into practice, and in so doing, we'll be able to nurture our ideas into innovation and at the end of the day, publish them. So as Mr. Banini said, we have upcoming programs. So we can also tune in on the 11th of May so that we can all make it a successful one. So in all, what I will say is thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the bundle you used to join and everything. We do appreciate you. So Mr. Banini, at this point, if you have anything to say, we can go ahead, or if not, we then end up the call. Thank you.
All right. I think that's all. You've said it all. We appreciate everyone on this call. See you next time on the 11th. And please come in your numbers. Please, let's come in our numbers. Our handle can take a capacity of 500 people. So even if every chapter gives us 50, that's enough. So please advertise in your groups. The write-up for this particular one will go through by tomorrow for everybody to have a look at. Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
See you next time. Anyway, bye.